right, so we've got Cavs Warriors, well, we used to.
Yeah.
And then we have Bama and Clemson. 3 years in a row. Always so exciting, never disappoints. What's it like for you guys to be playing arguably the best team year after year?
Well, that means you've had a great season because you know Alabama's going to be there.
Yep.
You know, they've been the best. Last 8 years, they've won the most games. We've won the second most games. Last 3 years, we've won 40. They've won 41. So they're not in our conference. So if you see Alabama in the postseason, you know you probably had a pretty good season. So it's been exciting. It's been fun. And it's kind of been a new little rivalry, if you will, just based on what both teams have been able to accomplish.
Last week at ACC Media Day, Larry Fedora, head coach at North Carolina, made some comments about CTE, questioning the relationship between football and CTE. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are I'm not a doctor. I'm a football coach, and you know, I know that for all of us coaches, you know, we want to make the game as safe as you possibly can be, and it's changed so much. I mean, I still consider myself a young coach, but you know, I was playing in the early '90s, and the game it's light years from where it was back in those days as far as things you know. So you go through life, there's certain things you only know what you know. And even 10 years ago, since I've been the head coach, the game is so different today as far as how you practice, how the game is taught, how the game is refereed. You know, just best practices, protocols, knowledge, awareness of things. And so that's all the positive. Unfortunately, sometimes you learn and grow from bad. And so there's bad in everything, but I love the game of football. I'm passionate about it, and hopefully it'll be a game that we can continue to play at the highest level and you know, make it as safe as it possibly can be, knowing that there's always going to be risk in the game of football.
Luckily, a lot of research is happening, and concussion protocols are getting better and things like that. So that's all moving in the right direction.
Coach, here's something I didn't know I was going to get to meet you today, but I've always wanted to ask you this. So I do the Laker. No, this is a good thing. I do the Laker games with Michael Thompson.
Ooh,
you mentioned that you went to the Bahamas. That's, you know, Michael's the favorite son of the Bahamas, Clay's dad. And he would tell anyone who would listen, when you had Deshaun Watson as your quarterback, this guy is going to be a fantastic NFL pro. All he does is sit on his couch and watch football. Then you came out and said to anyone who would listen, look, this guy's as NFL ready as anybody I've ever had. He's going to be great. Nobody listened. He drops to 12th in the draft. Now he's exactly what you said he would be, with an unlimited future at 22 years old. And if you redid that draft, he'd go at the top. Looking back, why do you think people didn't listen to you about Deshaun Watson? Why did 11 teams pass on that guy?
I think sometimes in life we make the simplest things the hardest. You know, I think sometimes you just make it too complicated, and everybody wants to be the smartest guy in the room or whatever it may be, and sometimes things are just so obvious. But you know, it worked out the way it was supposed to work out, and I know Deshaun wouldn't change it if he could go back and change it. And most of us in our life, you know, especially if you're a person of faith, you know, you just believe that things happen the way they're supposed to happen. And that's the way Deshaun looked at it. For me, it was hard to articulate the greatness of this young person.
Obviously.
He showed us before he got injured. He was balling.
Oh, he was an unbelievable player. And that was what was the best part of last season. I'd actually talked to him the day that he got hurt, and he was actually in the training room. And he was disappointed, but it's one of the things I told him, you know, man, this didn't happen in training camp. It didn't happen in the summer. You had an opportunity to show the world and your teammates and your opponents who you are. And I think everybody, I think he really kind of captured the league last year and what he was doing, because it was unbelievable, but not more, but how he does it, and his humility, his demeanor, how he leads, how he makes everyone else better. He makes the community better. And I think this is, the Texans are in for an exciting time. You know, he did the same thing his freshman year with us. And we had the surgery in December. And he was ready to go in August. 2 national championships, 30 straight games. Wow. Just incredible. Graduated in 2.5 years. This is a very focused, very driven young person. And that's what people missed on. And he's brilliant. He's brilliant. He loves it. He's a junkie, man. He can't get enough of the preparation. And his coaches know that. His teammates have recognized.
Great advertisement for you and for Clemson too.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. He's certainly was a face of our program when he was there, represented us well, and continues to do so.
I know a lot of teams obviously passed on him, and that had to be disappointing, hard for you to watch, but I feel like he ended up in a great situation, and it's a blessing in disguise to be with the Houston Texans. That's a real solid
Got to
team,
play right away.
a contender, and to jump right in there. I've got kind of a two-part question for you, because what I find so fascinating about you is obviously your team is so successful and they've been so dominant year after year, and you're still the hard-nosed football coach, but you seem so likable and optimistic and cool, like a guy you would want to hang out with.
Yeah.
What's kind of your MO? How would your players describe you?
Hopefully with what you just said,
Yeah.
you know.
How do you stay positive all the time?
My faith.
Okay.
You know, I try to find joy in the moment,
Yeah.
and try not to get distracted by things that really don't matter. I understand that, your people, you're never going to please everybody,
Yeah.
and I think when you try to do that, you become miserable. I know who I am, I know who my maker is,
Yeah.
and I know that I'm where I'm supposed to be at this particular time, and I love what I do. I love coaching football. I love being with the players. I'm passionate about it,
Yeah.
and so. I'm very much relationship driven, and hopefully that has served me well.
It has, and I really respect it. So I just wanted to mention that. But speaking of not letting things distract you, I love some good trash talking. You always like people motivating you, all that. So Paul Johnson, Georgia Tech head coach, talking a little trash, saying your Tigers aren't invincible, stuff like that. Does that get you going at all? Or do you use it to get your players going?
No, Paul's telling the truth. We're not invincible.
You're lying to me.
No,
You're lying.
We got beat twice last year.
Did you send that article to your players?
You say that like it's a bad
Sent it to them look at these people. Come on, do some more push-ups.
No. Only time I use anything is when I got Stephen A. I came on here last year. He don't show up for these events. But
you come. You got to stop coming during his vacation.
When he comes on, and every year, and he says, we got no chance against Alabama.
He comes after you.
All that stuff.
Does he give you a couple roll tides?
I love to use that stuff. When he give us that, we got no chance.